Yes, and our guest speaker, Mr. Anand Kasi Bhatla. He is a focus and memory coach. Yes, and he is the Limca Book of Record holder for memory. Isn't it so unique and so adventurous? He is also a speaker and corporate trainer, and he is doing this since last 23 years, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe it? Several organizations, entrepreneurs, educators, students, and people from all walks of life has immensely benefited by Mr. Anand's training program, mainly on focus, memory, and learning skills. And Mr. Anand has delivered his speeches and presentations in several countries, not just limited to India, but he had been invited to Singapore, Kenya, Nepal, Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia, and today we are privileged to have him here on this platform of Empowerment Talks. And he is going to share all his wisdoms on how you can focus, how you can improve your memory to become a better version of yourself. So please give a huge round of applause and welcome Mr. Anand Kasivatla. And with this word, I would like to invite Mr. Anand to kindly take it over, sir. The floor is all yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody. So let's get rolling. A very big thank you to all of you. Thanks for the invite, first of all, for the empowerment talks. And this is my second time here. I've had an opportunity to talk at the 5 a.m. club earlier, and the feedback was pretty good. All right. So, why I want to thank you in the beginning is that you have decided to give me 1 hour of your life. You're not just giving me 1 hour of your life, you're actually giving a part of your life to me, because this 1 hour is not going to come back ever. So, my commitment would be to give you much more than what you have spent in your time and effort here. That will be my commitment. All right. So, thank you very much for being here. It means a lot to me. And those of you who are joining on YouTube and other channels, very warm welcome to you as well. But I'll not be able to communicate with you. But those who are on Zoom, I can actually have a chat with you because there's a chat window I can see here. All right, let's keep rolling. And I've seen only few people have commented on location. So I've seen people from Doha, from Mumbai, from Ghaziabad. But there are only 4 people. How about the rest of the people? Can we quickly know from where you are? Some quick answers, please. If you're able to hear me, yeah, we have from Delhi. Oh, thank you so much, Raviji. Muscat, Ahmedabad, wonderful. And I think this is one thing which has happened really, really positive during the COVID. The borders have been shrunk. It has become one world. So earlier, if somebody wanted to travel to attend a seminar, it was very difficult, but now it's so good. Okay, thank you everybody for joining in. You have taken your time. It means a lot, as I told you. So let's move on. And this is me. I'm Indian National Record Holder for Memory. Of course, the introduction has been given. So I'll just very quickly skip this. And this is the record which I got. I got my record back in May 4, 1997, a long, long, long back. And I was training from 1996. So it's 24 years in training. And I've started my training journey very, very early in life. 17 and a half years, I was actually training corporate people. So if you Google my name, you'll find a lot of things. If you find something negative, you can just ignore that. So these are the kind of things which you'll surely find. Man with the most phenomenal memory in India, India's youngest corporate guru, because when I was 17 and a half years old, I was training people who are in the banking industry, senior branch managers of banks, and they were having more than 20 years in banking experience. So their experience was much more than my age itself. So I started at there, and after that, no looking back. I have been traveling. I lived in Malaysia for about 12 years now, back in India. And of course, I didn't get an opportunity to train the royal family of Malaysia. I trained the king's daughter, king's granddaughter. Apart from that, a lot of royalty as well, and a lot of who's who in Malaysia also have been trained by me. And that's my these are a couple of books which I've done. 2 books, one published from Malaysia, other one published from Singapore. One is going to come up very soon, and I'll keep you posted on this book. These are some of the companies. If you ask me, Anand, what have you done in the last 24 years? So these are some of the companies where I did my in-house workshops, but the list is very old. You can find me on Google to find the new list. So just to give you an idea, I have been invited with by most of the blue chip companies like GSK, LG, Maybank, Nestle, Philips, Citibank, Tata. So a lot of companies. So some other companies, some other companies, some other companies. And it's not about me today, it's about you. And I am committed to give you maximum result. And yes, I mean, I want to give you maximum result. All right. So let me share what I mean by maximum result very quickly. So here is one thing I wanted to share. So this is the WhatsApp message I got sometime back. It reads something like this. Uh, I just want you to focus on this. So here we got this message. Still remembering your wonderful sessions. More than 10 years ago has attended my workshop in KL. He found me on LinkedIn and sent a message. And people do get results after 10 years. And if you think 10 years is long, let me share you some other WhatsApp which I got sometime back. And this is the message which I got from a lady, and she has attended her workshop when she was in Sprint RPG, and that was 18 years back. Now 18 years back was that. Now why I'm sharing about this is because just before I logged in, you have heard people talking about the neuroplasticity, and I just wanted to put in that perspective again. So once you do something with your brain, do some exercise, and if you continue it for a while, you will have an amazing capacity because it will change you forever. Once the brain goes into the next level, it will never come back to the original. And that's the reason why you got to spend some time on working on yourself. And the results will not be for an hour, for a month, but it'll be lifelong. And I feel so blessed to work in this field, impacting people for years in their life and to add a lot of productivity to them. And today what we'll do is put in this puzzle together of how the memory works. And the reason I'm doing this is because if you look at yourself, I'm not blaming anybody in all this system, but if you just look at what has happened to us, we have been always told when we were kids that, hey, please pay attention, focus here, read this, learn this, remember this. We have been instructed, spend some more time. But nobody ever taught us how to remember, how to focus, how to learn, how to read. But we have been doing that all life. And that's the reason why you find some people who do a lot of work, they don't get result. And there's some people who apparently do nothing, but they get a lot of result. Now I'm going to share something very, very funny about me. If you want to laugh, you can put a LOL in the chat box. I don't mind that. And you know what? And this is a real thing. It took me 19 long years to know how to learn to brush my teeth. Okay, 19 years. And I don't mean that 19 years I've not been brushing my teeth. So I was brushing, I was doing it all wrong twice a day. I had a problem in my teeth when I was 19 years old, and my doctor asked me, how do you brush your teeth? I said, I don't know, I was offended. 19 years old kid, and you say, how do you, I was a corporate trainer by then, not only 19 years. He asked me, how do you brush your teeth? I said, what? You're really asking me? I said, yeah. He said, yes. So I've shown him. And then he said, this is exactly how you should not brush your teeth, for God's sake. Then he took a dummy pair of teeth and said, this is how you need to brush. I was like, oh my God, I've been doing this wrong all the time. Now, why I'm saying this is because people always say, hey, you know what? I've been memorizing, I have been reading, I have been doing that, I have been doing this. But I do respect that you have been doing that. But my question for you, please ask yourself, are you doing it right? If you're ever facing a problem in recalling information, if you're reading something and you're not able to remember that, so there's something not working because you're not being taught. So it's nothing wrong. We can learn, as simple as that. So let's move on. I will be fixing at this puzzle, and my commitment is by the end of this presentation, you would have a new outlook on how your brain works, and you will be better than what you are right now. It is my guarantee. So please pay attention and you will get the benefit. Let's move on, and I'll be talking about some best practices which you can do. And you might have some questions, so you can ask your questions. I'm looking at the chat box, you can ask the questions, or if the question is longer, I may prefer to take it at the Q&A at the end. And my request is this: please have an open mind. The minds are like parachute, and they only work when they are open. And why I'm sharing this in the beginning of the workshop is simply because people come with a lot of ideas which they've heard about on memory. Memory is all about luck. You cannot improve memory. As the age improves, the memory will go down. And there's so many other things. Some may be right, some may be wrong. So I want you to listen me with open mind. And once you listen, once you analyze, you can pick up whatever you like and discard whatever you don't like. But please don't judge while the session going on. Have an open mind. My promise is you will get something which will be extremely valuable for you. That's my commitment. So let's move on and let's talk about what we cover very quickly. Now we'll talk about the impact of the beliefs on our memory power. We'll talk about the memory stealers, those little things which steal away your memory. One big mistake which people are making, and you'll have to pay a lot of price in terms of productivity, in specifically in memory field. And three powerful ways to reactivate your memory. One principle to adapt as a way of your life. You get a lot of insights, and that's my commitment. All right, and let's move on and let's get rolling. I just want you to imagine for a while. Just imagine if your memory becomes like a genie, stands in front of you and says, "Master, tell me what you want me to remember." And if it can just do like that, how cool would that be? I want to tell you, if one day passes in your life without a single memory problem, you'll have so blessed feeling at the end of the day, I can't express in words. And that's possible. Imagine if this happens. Just imagine, by using what you learned today and expanding on that, if you can save 1 hour a day and your stress goes away, because a lot of stress comes in because of not using the mind in a particular manner. If that goes away, what would you do? What would you read when you know that you cannot forget? How your life will be impacted? Just imagine that. You want to put something in the chat box, you can actually put it as well. Not just imagination, you can actually put, if the life would be there, how would that be? And one more thing I want to do for you all, and that is, at the end of the session, I want to give you a very interactive mind map which will help you to sum up everything, so you don't have to take a notes. You will be getting the link of this. You can play around. It's all interactive. You press the notes, it will expand and it will give you the summary, and it will help you to sink in whatever we have done. So I'll be sharing this at the end of the session, and then let's go. I am ready to give you maximum result. If you want to get maximum result, can you just put MAX in the chat box? MAX in the chat box. So I know that I am talking to people who are exactly like me, who want a lot of result in life. So can you guys put MAX in the chat box, please? Thanks, Praveen. Thanks, Alice, Swati, Shruti, Narayan. Thank you so much, Khalid. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. And this is where I get a lot of energy. Thanks, Jagnesh, Santosh. Thank you very much. So let's move on. Let's move on. I like this excitement. Keep it going. I want you to participate. You're doing it, but I want you to step up, because I have got one of my coach. He said something interesting about participate. He says you have to be a part of it if you want to participate. All right. You have to be a part of it. So unless you're part of it, it is not that you're participating. So be a part of this, and the people who participate will get the maximum result in any session, including mine. All right. Thanks, Maisha, for the max. So we'll try to get it into max instead of just max. Thanks for that. Okay. I just want to remind you, please, no distractions for this 1 hour. The world is not going to end. COVID has done nothing to the world. So absolutely no worry. Okay, the world is not going to end. Please have no distractions for this maybe 50 minutes, 45 minutes. And if you're watching this from a laptop, please switch off all the parallel programs which will be running. It not only is taking away a bandwidth of the laptop, also the bandwidth of your brain and thinking process. So keep yourself alert. If you want to get a notes, I have in fact done a small video which is called 3 big mistakes to avoid when you are attending an online meeting, webinar, or class. You can go and check it on YouTube, and it will be extremely useful, because now webinars is going to be the way of life for people. All right. So I want to talk about one thing before we go on to the memory part. I want you to pick up some notes for you, And just by having a pen and paper, you know what, your focus will go to the next level. The reason is, the moment you have a pen, you'll always, your mind will think, what can I jot down, what can I type, what can I write in here? So that will make your learning multi-sensory immediately. You will be physically involved in the learning as such, just not mentally. If you don't write anything, if you're just listening and you say, okay, okay, and then you get some thought and you get lost, and it may take 20-30 minutes to understand that you're lost. Sometimes it happens. So just by having a pen, it becomes a tool for you to stay focused and to remember. And when you write down, you will actually remember better. All right, so this is some instruction before we go on, some idea, some suggestion. Now let's get rolling, and this is what I want to start with. And this is one of my most powerful things which I love. Every next level of your life will demand a new version of yourself. Do you agree to that? If you agree to that, can you just put agree in the chat box, so I know that we're on the same wavelength? Or if somebody disagrees, we can have a discussion as well. If you agree to that, can you just put agree? Yeah, thanks Ravi, thanks Mohammed. All right, Praveen, Narayan, thank you so much. Asha, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks Musa. So there are a lot of people agreeing, so it's not possible to take everybody's name. A big thank you for everybody who's responding, and I invite everybody else who was not responding to respond, so that this is not a regular classroom. So chat is one way which you can keep us alive and connected. So that's the reason I'm asking. And because you are physically involved when you're chatting, so your mind will be in the space right now when you're engaged in more than one of the senses. Thank you so much, guys. So let's move on. I just want to share something. Thanks, Anupama, for that. So if you want to get into this level, there are two things you have to work on. One is you got to change your perceptions. If you want to go to the next level, you have to change your perceptions. Now, perceptions is going to decide. Your perception is your reality. And let me tell you my thing, and that is, I believe that there is nothing right, nothing wrong, nothing good, nothing bad, nothing anything about it. It's basically your perceptions which will make your reality. I just want to share one thing. How many of you have heard or experienced? I'll just repeat. How many of you have ever heard or experienced that as the age goes higher, the memory goes down? If you have heard that or experienced, can you put me in the chat box? M-E, me in the chat box? Ravi, you heard that. Great. A lot of people heard and also experienced it. Thank you. All right. Now, I just want to ask you this question, but it depends upon yourself. Exactly, Praveen. Heard it. Okay. So I just want to ask you, where did you buy this? Who sold you this idea? Khalid, exactly. It's not true. Absolutely. All right. Oh, magic trainer. I was doing magic when I was young. I love that. Okay, great. Yeah, society, exactly. So there's no proof. So what happens is we always have this thing, forgetful grandfather, jokes on that, absent-minded professor. That's what we have jokes on. That's what I have been seeing. And that's where our belief system comes up. And we say, oh, you know what? I'm aging. I don't remember. You know how it works, interestingly? Because I'm aging, I have that belief. I don't try. Because I don't try, I don't remember. Because I don't remember, I say, I know that because I'm getting old, I can't remember. See how the perceptions can make a difference in life. All right, change your perception. When you want to change your perceptions, what do you want to change your perceptions on? On your memory, on yourself, on your beliefs, on your myths, on the age, on how you look at the information. You've got to change a perception. If the perception is not changed, you will not have a changed result. Perception is so important. And there's one more thing you ought to change. Two things. One is perception. The second thing, and I just want to give you this idea here. How does perception is perceptions will make you have beliefs. Beliefs will be responsible for the behaviors. Behaviors give the outcome. Outcomes give belief, and this becomes a cycle. And this becomes self-fulfilling. And this is how it works. How things work. And where is the belief coming from? That's a big question. And the belief is coming from, is there a lot of disturbance? So I think everybody can put themselves on mute. Let me know if I put everybody on mute. I have muted everybody. Okay, great. Thank you so much for sharing that. You still have a disturbance? Can I have checked my mic? So guys, some kind of buzzing sound. So let me see. Is it any better now? Disturbance in the mic? Is it better? All right, cool. Thank you, Anupama, for that. All right, guys. So maybe some buzzing sound somewhere, but I think it's now cleared. Thank you so much. Okay, now where is this all thing coming from? Now this is coming from one thing, and that is evidence. What evidence are you giving? A lot of people come up and say, they go to a meeting and they forgot the name and say, you know what? I have a very poor memory for names. They forget something to, let's say they forgot to pick up the dry cleaning. They go, oh, my memory is ditching me. I forgot to pick up the dry cleaning. All right, so this is what people actually think, and that's what is happening. That's what the evidence. So my question for you is your evidence helping you, or is your evidence harming you? The more evidence you have for showing that you have a poor memory, that is actually harming. Okay, all right, cool. Thanks, Ravi. So let's move on. And the second one you have to do is you have to take a different action. Okay, one is changing perception, two is changing action. A lot of people don't take action simply because they feel that different action actually means difficult action. Different action only means different. It is need not be difficult. Okay, so you will see it in a while what I mean. So I just want to ask you this. So some of you might have seen this, but I still want to ask this. Okay, what do you see here? What do you see here? Can you put it in the chat box? What do you see here? Frog. Okay, great. A horse. Wow, what a change of perception. A toad. Frog. So when I ask this picture, ask about this picture, people say a frog and a horse. Okay, that's good. I heard things like it looks like a chicken in the supermarket. It's a frog, it's a horse, it's an old lady, it's a rabbit. Who is right? Everybody is right. It is their perspective. If you're seeing a frog, it's a frog. If you're seeing it as a horse, it's a horse. I'm not talking philosophy, I'm talking real. Yeah, the Khalid says black and white lines. Yeah, absolutely, Khalid. Whatever you see is right for you. That's your perception. What if I tell you that this is actually a picture of a horse? This is a horse. How many of you can see the horse? Can just put ME in the chat box so I know that you are actually seeing a horse. Hania, Muhammad, Ravi. Oh, Ravi is not seeing the horse, not me. Okay, cool. So let me show you the horse, Ravi and others, if you're not seeing the horse yet. So do you see the horse now? Oh, yes, that's right. Perfect. I've tilted the picture. The picture is same. The picture is same, but its orientation is different. So let me show you both. That was a horse, and this is what I did, and that's a frog, and now this is a horse. Actually, it's the same picture. Perceptions make a lot of difference. All right. So let's move on. Let's move on. And I just want to ask you this. Everybody put a number in the chat box. How good is your memory on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being very low to 5 being extremely good? So we get 2, 3, 1, 4. Khalid, okay. 3, 3, 3, very low. Okay, Sweta, got it. All right. 3, 5. Wow, amazing. Santosh, great. Okay, 4. All right, so it's your answer. So I'm not going to make any comment. So wherever you are, perfectly fine. All right, so let's move on. We'll come back to this question in a while again. So let's get into the presentation. And I just want to start with the basics. Now, very, very basics, the foundation. Let's start, build up the whole thing. So I want to ask one question, and this is the question. Why do people forget? So any quick answers if you can share? Why do people forget? Some answers? No interest, lack of focus. Great. Thanks, Harna. Haima. Sorry. Not attending due to dear inside. Okay. Too much of information, cannot remember. Okay, cool. All right. All these reasons are right. Fear. Great. Made no efforts. Brain memory cannot accommodate. Okay. Overdose of information. No revision. Disturbance still there. Still there's a disturbance. Okay. No, I'm not using two mics. It's just one mic. I don't know. Something wrong. I think it's just started suddenly, the disturbance. Okay, anyway, so too many thoughts. Great. Coming on and off. Okay. Still the sound is disturbing. So I think we have to manage with this because I don't know, laptop pin. So let me do one thing. Let me just unplug my. Is it any better? Okay. Okay, you can hear me? Great. Super. So is it okay now?
It's much better.
Oh, thank you so much. Maybe there's a jack problem. Sorry about that. Murphy's laws, anything can go wrong. All right, guys. So here we have all these answers. They're perfect. So let me add some more things. I just want to give a new perspective. All of the things which you said, they're perfectly right. So let's move to the things which I wanted to share apart from what all you have added. I want to add a few things. And here we go. The first thing is disbelief. Most people don't have a good memory, not because they don't have good memory, but because they don't have a good belief. And why they don't have belief is because they have evidences which are negative or which are wrong, which they don't see what is working for them. They start disbelieving that. And the second reason I want to share is disinterest. A lot of people, they don't remember because they're not interested. I don't have to overemphasize this fact. If you're interested, your memory is better. If you're not interested, your memory is less. As simple as that. And the third reason, apart from all the reasons which you've shared, is disuse. Most people don't use their memory as much they should be using or as much they're capable of using. Let me give an example. The small devices in your pockets, right? When you did not have these devices, maybe 15, 20 years back, your memory for telephone numbers was very, very good, right? And now there are a lot of people who don't remember their own telephone number. And when I ask people, why don't you remember your own number? I get two answers. One answer, they say, okay, in India, we have something called Jio. So it's good for internet. That's what people say. And they say, okay, this is my Jio number. I use it for only internet. I don't use it for calling, so I don't remember. It's your Jio number. It's not Dhirubhai's number. It's Jio number, right? So you have to remember, it's on your own number. You still have to remember. And there's some people who come up and give another funny answer. They say, I don't have to call myself. I don't call myself, so I don't remember. So it's all funny, but then the actual fact is because you're not using your memory, it is getting useless. Because basically, use it or lose it. If you don't use your skills, they'll become useless over a period of time. So the first thing which you have to do, if you want to get your memory back to action, is simply kill these three things. And you don't have to really do anything about it. It's just an attitude. You just recognize that these are things which are stopping and let them go. And your memory will be working as fine. All right. So, all right. So, yeah, I'm here. So what you have to do is basically kill them. But then once you kill them, you'll be able to get your memory back. Okay. Volume. I just want to share this. You have a great memory. I don't know much about you, but I can say one thing, that you have an extremely powerful memory. Your memory is very, very good. How many of you want to believe that? You have a great memory. You have amazing memory, not just great. Okay, you want to believe that? Do anybody want proof that you have a great memory? I'm not trying to make you feel good. Oh, you know that, Khalid. Great. Great. Okay, so let me give you the proof. You may be asking, give me the proof. So let me give you the proof. So I want to ask you, yes, you need some proof, I know. So let me give you proof now. I want to ask you this question. Do you forget? Do you forget? What do you think? Yes? Great. Yeah. You forget things. Super. All right. And those are the people who have not responded actually forgot what I asked. All right. So people do forget. So I just want to ask you something. Because you're saying you forget, I want to give you a task. And the task is very simple. The task is here. Try to forget something that you already know. I repeat, consciously try to forget something which you already know. Santosh, that's amazing. You say we don't forget, but we can't recall. Amazing. We'll come to that. Try to forget something which you already know. Okay, is it possible?
consciously try to forget something which you already know? Anupama, are you sure it is possible? No, it's not possible exactly. You cannot forget anything which you already know because it's there. You can't forget. That's what, Michael, I just mean that. You can't forget things which you already know. All right? It's impossible to do that. So I want you to remember this. It's impossible to forget, but still we experience this forgetting. And forgetting is not real. So let me give an example. So I don't know much about sun, but now I know a couple of things. I just want to share this. So I know a few things about the sun, and thus that is the sun rises in the east and the sun sets in the west. So if you also heard about that, if you experienced that, can you just put sun in the chat box? So I know that sun rises in the east, sets in the west. We're on the same plane. Yeah. So everybody agree to that. Great. Now I just want to ask you one question. Please think and answer this. Knowing what you know, do you really think that the sun is rising or setting? Do you really think that the sun is rising or setting? The answer is a big no. The sun is neither rising nor setting. We just experience it. Now, what's the reality? Reality is we are moving around the sun, and see the level of ego we have. The sun is moving around us. The biggest lie of the universe, still a true experience every single day. Forgetting is also an experience which is not true. It's a lie. Let me prove it to you. How many times it has happened? I mean, people look at one point and they say they forgot. How many, you have forgotten the name of a person? You might have gone blank when you sit in the examination. You might have forgotten to pick up some things from the shop. And looking at these things, you say, you know what? My memory is not working. And the same very people will tell you, or it might have happened to you, 3 days later when you're not at all thinking, you will recollect the name. Or the moment you come out of the examination hall, you recall everything back again. Or you go home and say, I forgot to pick this up. You actually recollect on your own without any trigger. So you have not forgotten. As Santosh said there, we actually fail to recall. So please don't run around trying to improve your memory. Your memory is already fantastic. Try to work on your recall. Yes, Khalid, recall needs activating. Your memory is fantastic. It's not good. Fantastic. Your memory is fantastic. Good is very small for memory. So if you don't believe that, let me give you another task. All right. Now, those of you still don't believe, don't do this task right away. You have to do it at your home. Don't do it right now. Okay. Take some A4 sheets of paper or a book like that, blank book or some A4 sheets of paper, and write down what all you know till now in your lifetime. All the words you know, all the languages you know, all the letters you know, all the places you have visited, foods you have tasted, recipes you know, songs you know, the movies you know, the places you want to visit, your friends' names, your teachers' names, your organization you have worked with, the processes you know, the manufacturing you know, the people you know, everything you start writing, everything you remember, and you continue to do it. How long do you think it will take for you to complete? Khalid, it will not take too long. It will take one complete life. Yes, of course, it's too long. It will take a lifetime to finish it. So where is it coming from? It's all coming from your memory. So don't ever tell yourself you have a bad memory. Memory is fantastic. As Khalid says, as Santosh says, you need to train your recall. Memory is very good. So let's move on. And now I want to ask you, how do you rate yourself on 1 to 5 on a scale of 1 to 5? How do you rate your memory? Guys, you should not put anything less than 4.5. All right. Okay, great. So your memory is good. Please understand that there is no problem with your memory. There's a problem of recall. 4.6. I love that, Praveen. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's move on. And let's talk about the big mistake which people make. Why people are suffering because of the memory? Because of what reason they're suffering. Let's get into this. Now, one big mistake which people make is this. They think that memory is automatic. My dear friends, let me remind you, nothing in life is automatic. Nothing ever can be automatic. Memory is not automatic. Yeah, thank you, Jagnesh. That is more than 5 actually. Okay, now what I mean by memory is not automatic. A lot of people think that memory is automatic. What I mean by memory is automatic, they think, oh, just because I am listening, because I can understand English, because I am taking notes, because I am agreeing, nodding my head, I have to remember. No, it doesn't work like that. My question for you is, just by listening, understanding, or responding, you will not remember. What is required is you have to intend. Have you ever intended? So there are a lot of people who say, I have poor memory for names. One question for you all guys, introspective question. Did you ever intend consciously before meeting a person, I want to remember this person? Probably very less times. People don't make an active intention. Exactly, Ravi. If you don't make an intention, how can even brain converge its energies? How can it even start activated in that thing? There are a lot of people, students attend their seminars, webinars, whatever thing, and they say, oh, you know what, as I understand everything, but when my teacher leaves, I forget everything. My question for you again is, how many times when you are about to enter into seminar hall or when you're about to attend a meeting or a webinar, have you told yourself, I want to remember what I'm going to get in this session? People don't make a conscious decision because they think somehow that memory is automatic. It's not automatic, it has to be activated. Now, how do you activate your memory? Very simple thing. And that is by your intention. Consciously intend, you will see the magic. Next time, before you meet people, I say, I want to remember his name or her name. I want to remember this seminar. I want to remember what I'm reading in the book, in this book. The moment you say that, your mind will start working in that direction and you will find it easy to remember. Your distractions will go lower because you have an intention. If you intend, yeah, exactly, Khalid. So if not, use your magic there. All right, cool. So let's move on. Let's move on. Your intention will create the action and your action will create the result. All right, so if you want to get an intention, you have to have an action. To have an action, to get the result, you have to have an action. To have an action, you have to have an intention. Intention is a starting point, and people don't intend and they say my memory is not working, is not really being fair. So be fair to yourself. Intend and see. If it doesn't work, we'll come back and discuss. And probably just by intending, you'll see your memory starts working like magic. All right, so let's move on and let's talk about something which is very, very critical. And if you can pay attention to this one thing, you'd have got a lot of ideas on how to take care of your memory. And that is on input-output ratio. Now, what's happening in life? So see, from the childhood, again, there's nothing wrong or right. I just want to make you aware what's happening. Students go into the school classroom. Now, the moment they get to the classroom, science teacher, math teacher, English teacher, physics teacher, geography teacher, that teacher, this teacher, oh, everything comes in and we just hold on to it. So everything input, 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 everything input, some more input, some more input. Now, when do you do the output? Examination. And people are very smart. Oh, 8th chapter, 9th chapter doesn't come for examination for the last 5 years, so don't read this. Then why did you even read in the first place? All right. So if you see the input and output, there is no match. There's a lot of input, the incoming muscles, if you can call it, they're very, very strong. Whereas the output muscles, we did not do an exercise, they're very weak. So you got to do something to activate your, there's exact imbalance. So to bring back your activation to the output. And one big mistake which people do again in this context is that people think, oh, if I want to remember something, let me read it 4 times. Let me read it 1 more time. So let me do an input. See guys, so memory function, recall function is an output function. So unless you do the output, you cannot do the input. You cannot recall. So let me just give an example. So let's say I call Khalid. So I see Khalid's name in the chat. So I say, Khalid, hey Khalid, I want to meet you. I want to learn some magic. So can I see you? I want to reach your house. He'll say, okay. So from where? So let's say I say from let's say Times Square. So I see he's in UK. So let's say Times Square. So I say, okay, and then from Times Square, you go right, go left, go straight, whatever. And he guides me. And then I say, okay, he's saying in simple English. I understand that. But suddenly I decide that, oh, today I don't want to go to Khalid's place. Maybe some other time. So I say, not today. And I just skip it. 15 days down the line, I remember, oh, I wanted to learn magic from Khalid. So I want to go and meet him So what I do is I'll go to Times Square first. And I probably don't even remember any instruction in spite of me being a memory expert, right? I call again, Khalid, I want to reach your house this time. So can you please tell me how to reach? Then he'll exactly tell me the same directions. So this time I'm serious. So I go catch the direction and go there and meet him. And once I reach him, 6 months later, if I want to meet Khalid, I'll only call him and say, Khalid, can I see you? Are you at home? I will not ask Khalid, can you give me the directions again? I will not do that. The reason is, if I can recall it now, I'll be qualified to recall it later. Now, what people do is they just do input, input, input. They don't do recall. So when you do the output, that is where you're getting the exercise for your recall, and anything you recall, that is what is the exercise for memory. All right. So let's move on. And let me give an example here. So any failure of memory is basically a failure of recall. Do you agree to that? If you agree, can you just put recall in the chat box so I know that you are understanding what I'm saying? Any failure of memory is typically a failure of recall. All right, exactly. It's a recall failure, not a memory failure. There's nothing called a memory failure. It's a recall failure. Recall is not working. Now, one introspective question, please think about this. And that is, in the last 6 weeks, maybe 2 months, maybe 6 months, or 1 year, put a whatever time frame you want to put it in the past, how many times have you done conscious exercise for enhancing your recall skills? How much work have you done consciously to enhance your recall skills in the last? Nil. Exactly, Ravi. Because we have never been taught that. Never, Praveen, exactly. Now the thing is only for exams, exactly, absolutely zero. Now you know what? If you did nothing, you will get nothing. If you did never, you'll never get any result. So our thing is, please don't worry about your memory. People go and work on the memory and they don't get the result because you can't improve something which is already the best. It's already the best. Okay, I want to share something. It's a personal opinion. I just still want to say it. And if you want to pick it up, you can pick it up. So this is very, very simple. See, I want everybody to believe either in God or in nature. Okay, either in God or in nature. If you don't believe in God, absolutely wonderful, no problem. Then believe in nature. If you don't believe in nature, then believe in God. Either one, at least one. That's my personal opinion. And I think it's okay to believe at least one thing, right? Either in the nature or in the God, just believe one thing. And if you can believe either one of those, also please understand that neither the nature nor the God will ever create a substandard product. All right. Okay. So basically what happens is you'll be able to, once you believe that, you'll be able to know that your memory is fantastic. Okay. So got it. So let's move on. And let's try to see how to activate the recall mechanism. That's the most simplest thing to do. Let's see how do we activate the recall mechanism. So there are 3 simple ways in which you can activate your recall, and they're pretty simple, very, very simple. So let me give you some ideas here. Activating your recall, the first thing which you can do is called as event recall. Now, what I mean by event recall is very simple. So what's an event? Event is anything which is happening in your life as an event. It can be you have a dinner session with somebody. It can be you're attending a webinar. It can be you're reading a book. You're watching a Netflix. You're attending a birthday party or anything. You're just attending something, or it can be just any event. So once the event is over, spend 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, depending on your time, maybe while walking towards your car, walking towards the escalator, or before you transit into the other event, just try to recall what has happened. Just recall, instantly recall, okay, this is what has happened. By doing that, what you're doing, you are creating a balance. So something happened, you're trying to recall it back. And you don't have to worry about making an absolute balance. It's not possible, but make a conscious effort to do some kind of output, because memory is an output function. All right, it's always an output function. So try to do it as many times as possible in the day. So you have got maybe 1,000 events will happen in a day. It can be your trip to the supermarket. It can be, walking your dog. It can be cleaning your car. So you have done an event. So after you've done the event, just imagine or recall what has happened. That will take your recall to the next level. Thereby your memory will become like very, very powerful. So event recall is the first thing. The second thing which you can do is day recall. Day recall is one of the most powerful thing. I can talk about an hour on day recall, but I'm not going to talk about it for an hour. But I just want to leave you with one single thought, and that is When you do a day recall, what is day recall? Day recall is at the end of the day, spend a few minutes, think about what has happened today. It's like playing the disc video cassette, but do it in a chronological order, in the same order as it happened. If you miss few chunks here and there is absolutely okay, but don't jump here and there. So in one order, try to actually recall as much as you can. If you can just do the day recall, you'll be surprised. Your memory, focus, retention, your observation, your concentration, everything will go to the next level. It's very, very, very powerful. It'll hardly take 2-3 minutes, but it's a very solid activity, very solid exercise. Try this and you will thank yourself for trying this. You will go to the next level simply by doing a day recall. The third one, it's a fun activity. I call it as a random recall. What I mean by random recall, let's say one of the evening, you have nothing to do, you're sipping your coffee, you're free. So think about it. Oh, let me try to recollect all my chemistry teachers' names. Or it can, oh, let me try to recollect my friends' names in my high school. So recall anything randomly, or let me try to recollect the songs of Michael Jackson or Mohammad Rafi, doesn't matter. Try to recollect things randomly. So what you're doing there, you're jogging your memory, you're trying to do the output, you're trying to do the recall. The more you give the recall exercise, the more sharper you get in memory, because when you talk about memory, it's basically recall. That's what you're talking about. That's what been working on, right? So final test of memory is recall. So you're doing that activity. So people consciously don't do it, but by the moment you do it, let's say, for example, if you just do this for 10 days, you'll be surprised. You'll have done probably more exercise in recall in the last 6 months that you'll be doing more than that in the next 10 days. Because in the last 6 months, you've not consciously done the recall. But if you can do this, that will take you to the next level. It's very simple, but very powerful. So 3 ways. One is event recall, day recall, random recall. The next one you have is jog your memory. It can be writing your gratitude journal. It can be, even meditation is also a very good tool for memory, but it can also have a lot of other positive impact as well. All right, you can jog your memory, you can solve puzzles, you can solve crosswords, all these kind of things will help jog your memory. And one more thing, there's one guy by name Charles Haanel, and this guy shared something in 1912. Now what he says is reflection is a very good tool. Now what is reflection all about? Reflection is simply like day recall, but in day recall, you're a mute spectator of the movie, you just watch it. In reflection, you actually analyze it. You can see, oh, what could have gone better? How could I have improved? What was the reason? So you just add analysis to the day recall, that becomes reflection. Reflection is simply looking at an event, what has happened, and why it has happened, what can I do, what can I learn from there. That's all about reflection. If you can do reflection, you will take yourself to the next level. Yes, of course, that's like cause and effect, finding the cause and effect. So you can actually improvise on whatever is the thing. And there are a lot of learnings. There are 3 ways of learning. Typically, there are 3 ways of learning, if you can see. One is the people whom you meet, you learn from them. 2 is the books you read. And 3 is the places you visit. The people whom you meet, the books you read, and the places you visit, these are the 3 sources of learning. And the ultimate tool is reflection. If you, let's say, attended Tony Robbins' workshop, and if you don't reflect on that, you don't learn anything out of it. You read a book and you don't reflect, you would not absorb anything. So reflection is a very, very powerful tool. So be okay to do some reflection. Maybe it can be 3-minute exercise, 5-minute exercise, but when you do reflection, you will actually go to the next level. It's the fastest path to accelerate your growth. All right, so that's all about reflection. So let's move on and talk about one more quick tip before we end on, and that is keep educating yourself. That's a key for life. Keep educating yourself. People call it lifelong learning. You can call it lifelong learning or whatever thing. So what can you do at this stage? Yeah, you can learn anything. You can learn a new language. You can learn a new piece of software, a music, a song, maybe an exercise, maybe how to fly a kite, maybe how to ride a motorbike. It doesn't matter. As long as you're learning something new, your neural activity will be very, very active. And the more exercise you give, the more sharper you get. And I'm not a medical person. Maybe there are a lot of medical people who are on the board here, who are watching or who are on the Zoom here. I've heard a lot of medical professionals saying, and I've trained some doctors, they also actually tell me the same thing. They say that having a regular brain exercise is the surest and the only way to take insurance against Alzheimer's. all right? That's the only way you can get out of, into a safe zone from Alzheimer's. So keep educating yourself. Please imagine this. Your mind power is like fire, all right? You want to keep the fire on, you have to feed something. And what you can feed your mind power with? With learning. And what can you learn? Anything. You don't find anything, it can be learn a word a day, good enough. I'm not saying it's end, but you can start with it. When I say good enough, it's not like the end. You can start with that. Learn one. So you have to be actively engaged in learning. That will keep your mind very active. Yeah, exactly. The brain is like muscle. The more you use it, the more stronger it gets. Thanks, Khalid, for that. All right. So I just want to tell you 3 things which you have to do, and this is very, very critical. And first thing is you have to understand that there is no problem with memory. Your memory is awesome, and you just have to work on your recall. Please understand that. The second thing you have to do is you have to appreciate your memory. A lot of people don't appreciate. They always come up and say, "Ah, I forgot this, I forgot that." They don't see what they are actually remembering. All right, they're just seeing what they're forgetting. All right, so please appreciate whatever you have. When you appreciate, when you're grateful, things will go to the next level. The third one is acknowledge. Acknowledge your small wins. When you remember some things, acknowledge. A lot of people only acknowledge when they fail, as in, oh, I forgot a person's name. What about all the names you remember? Acknowledge that. People, have you ever seen anybody who travel 15 kilometers, 20 kilometers, go to the destination? Did any person tell themselves or others, wow, I remember a 15-kilometer route, my memory is very good? People don't do that. So why don't you start acknowledging that? When you acknowledge your small wins, that's where it's like a positive stroke and your memory starts getting better, and you'll feel good that, you'll be seeing more evidence of what is working than what is not working. Let's be very fair. How many things do you forget in a day? 10, 15, 20, 30? Not more than that. But remember, understand how many things you remember in a day. I don't know if information can be measured in tons. You remember tons and tons and tons of information. So please give a due credit to that. So understand, appreciate, and acknowledge. So I just want to give you some quick pointers before I close for Q&A. So there are some quick pointers, very quick pointers here. Keep active. Keep yourself active, physically active. So physical activity also will fire up the neurons, and a healthy body in a healthy mind, a healthy mind in a healthy body. That's what people say. So keep yourself active. Get enough sleep. Sleep deprivation is one of the major things which will actually mess up with your memory. There's a lot of work which has been done. So it's a very long topic. So you can see how the sleep deprivation impacts memory. You can go Google and you'll find a lot of information. So get enough sleep is a very, very quick pointer. And I would say don't compromise your sleep for anything on the planet. Sleep is that essential. You should have a good sleep, yeah? And train your brain, do some exercises, do some activities. You have to train your brain. The more you engage in training your brain, the better it gets. It is like a muscle, as we've been discussing earlier. So your training will help you go a long way. Socialize more. Now, why do you need to socialize? When you socialize, you're meeting more people. So as I told you, the more people you meet, the more learnings you have. You get new insights, you get new ideas, you get new thought patterns, and that's where your memory expands. Your memory cannot expand just like that. So there has to be some interaction, and one of the easiest things is the more you socialize, the more things you start getting to know. And maintain a healthy diet. Anything good for body is good for the brain. All right. So please maintain a healthy diet, so that will keep you feel good inside, keep you fit, and your brain will also work accordingly. Read more often. Now, why have to read more often? Because that's where you can learn a lot of stuff. If you read a book by Bill Gates, you would have downloaded the Bill Gates thinking DNA into yourself. And of course, if you don't read it, it's not that you cannot discover it. It might take 5 years, 10 years, or maybe next life. But if you read it, it will fasten up the journey, and you can get a lot of things learning. So you read something about Spain, so you get to know some festivals about there. You get a lot of information. So the playground is, some activities happening out there when you read more often. And next thing is learn a new skill. Learn any new skill, so that will keep your brain very, very active. All right. Yeah, Khalid, these are quick pointers. All right. Avoid negative emotions. Now, why you got to avoid negative emotions is this is a very important point. Now, anybody, when they think negative, the first thing which happens is they lose access to themselves. All right. If somebody is going through anger or any high emotion or sadness or depression or frustration, whatever, when people or fear. Now, when people are experiencing a negative emotion, the first thing which happens is they lose access to themselves. So this is just some pointers, and of course make time for meditation, so that will help go a long way in doing that, so in taking care of your brain on a better level. So last slide of the day which I want to share here, I just want to ask you, in which direction is the train going? Is it going into the tunnel or is it coming out of the tunnel? What's your take? Is the train going into the tunnel or is it coming out of the tunnel? Guys, some answer, please. Both. All right. Into, out. Okay, great, great, super. So I would want you to remember, think like this. Please think as if you are the pilot of the train or the driver of the train. All right. You decide whether it's going in or going out. If you say it's going into the tunnel, it's absolutely going into the tunnel. If you say it's coming out of the tunnel, it's actually coming out of the tunnel. It's how you look at it, actually. And if you see one thing, it's unlimited coaches. Whatever way you see, it is unlimited coaches. So why I'm sharing this at the end is your mind power is exactly like that, right? Your mind power is exactly like that. And that is, it's either always going higher or going lower. Everything you do, everything you don't do is taking your mind power to the higher level or the lower, or it is getting it reduced. So yeah, it's a GIF actually. All right, this is just for a message. Okay, so if you don't do anything to improve your mind power, what exactly happens is path of least resistance. It will just keep falling down, and there is no limit to falling down. People don't remember their own telephone number. So sad. And there's no limit to falling down. But if you stand up and say, I am responsible for my mind power, and if you just start taking small steps, you know what? You will turn the whole thing around and you will start improving. And again, unlimited coaches, as in there is no limit to improving as well. So these are the things which are there. And these are my coordinates. And as I told you, the mind map, you can actually go to the mind map here. So tinyurl.com and this one. So that will give you the interactive mind map, and these are my coordinates. And yeah, you can take it. Yeah, if you have any questions, I'm available for questions. You can either put it in the chat box, or we have the moderator, so probably moderator can also help. All right, guys, any questions? So this is what I thought I could share in this short span of about 40-45 minutes. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you so much. And, it was a great,
yeah,
great insights. And what I learned is that, the best thing about memory is making them. And I believe you have given us enough tools to make our memories the way we want to make it. Starting with the pointers, keeping yourself active, getting enough sleep, train your brain, socialize more, maintain healthy diet, read more often, learn a new skill, and avoid negative emotions. So I am sure all our attendees are going to use the tools, the tips, the tricks, what you have given. And I request all our attendees to please visit the website. I'm just put in the chat box. It is mymemoryzone.com. You can know more about Mr. Anand's work. You can learn some more techniques. And in case you have the question, please write in the chat box. I will
put the questions. Yes, sure.
You can also raise hand. I will unmute you. You can directly interact with our guest speaker. But before that, Mr. Anand, I would like to ask some questions because that's what is coming to my mind. One of the very important tool what you mentioned is the reflection process. So if you can elaborate more, like if I am reading certain books and many children, school-going children, they study. So what exactly they should do in terms of reflection? What is the best practice?
Oh, great. So you have asked I think keeping in view for academics and kids. So let me answer in that way. So now just understand what's happening. This is a very powerful question. Thank you so much for that. So what people do, when I say people, students, academics, what people do is they open the book, they start reading, and they close the book. And when you ask them, why did you close the book? Most of them say, okay, I'm done. But the question is, who told you you're done? Did you even know that you got something or not? Now, it's like this. Is it possible that I start reading something at the same time I'm thinking about scuba diving? Very much possible. But then after 40 minutes or 50 minutes, I close my book. I go in a mindset that I've actually learned it. So once you close your book, if you can reflect, what have I learned? And then when I get a super shock that, oh, I didn't get anything, then next time I will be conscious of reading. And every time I close the book and I reflect, did I learn something about it? So if you learn something, when you're reflected, it helps you in recall. And if you're not able to recall, it will at least let you know that you are not learned. You've just actually wasted your time thinking of something else when you're reading. So that way reflection is powerful. And for other people, generally, when you reflect, you're actually engaging on recall and also analysis. So it's a very good tool which will help. So does it answer your question?
Yeah, thank you, Anand. But what should be the process? What one should do when we have to reflect upon?
Okay, so let's say if you're reflecting on the day, so close your eyes and think what has happened. And you can ask two questions, like, what has gone right? What can I improve on? So let's say, for example, I want to reflect an event. This has happened. What has gone right? So maybe I've done my thing well. What could I improve? Maybe I should get a better speaker, right? Maybe I should have a better hardware. So if I don't reflect, next time I go in, I'll make the same mistake. I'll make the same mistake for the rest of my life because I never reflected. Every time it's like a new error. But the moment you make a reflection, okay, what could have gone better? What has gone right? So what has gone right will help me give me more confidence. What could have improved? That will give me source for getting myself better. All right. So this is how you will improve. So things will go wrong, but instead of focusing and saying what went wrong, you can say what improved better. So that's a better reflection. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Now, other question, Anand, is that in the current scenario, in the information age, the amount of data which enters into our brain, and currently, it's all enters through our 5 senses. And I understand more than 100 billion nerve cells, they process it. So how shall we use our all senses to effectively utilize our memory or make the memory more powerful?
Amazing question. I think, this is one of the best questions which I've got so far. So let me tell you something very, very interesting. Now, I just want to share something very personal here. It may seem unrelated, but this is going to be very powerful if you listen for a minute. So there was one time where I was eating food because the food is available, not because I was hungry. Okay. So because food is available, I used to eat it. And of course, recently I shed 9 kilos, by the way, in the last 2 months. Yeah. Okay. So I was eating food because it was available. And I want to tell you this, when I take some bit of food and put it in my mouth, I have got one choice whether to eat it or not. Once I eat, I have no choice. The body has to deal with it. Do you agree? If I eat poison, the body will deal. If I eat green tea, or if I drink green tea, if I eat junk, the body has to deal with it. There's no option for the body. So this is one thing on the physical self. Let's copy paste and do it into the other self, the mental self. You said something very powerful. Information enters through 5 senses, and you have to be a wise guard of information getting into your head. All right. So there are people who consume information because information is available, not because they need it. How many times have you seen people, they sit down in the TV, in front of TV, watch TV, they don't like what they are seeing, but they still keep cursing. What kind of programs are they showing? But they don't switch it off. There are people in the WhatsApp groups see the same message, same video 5 times, 6 times, 10 times, because it came from different people, and see it because they are got used to consuming information because it is available. So what is happening most of the time is We are unnecessarily involving a lot of things, and we are consuming whatever is thrown to us. And that's where the processing has been getting jammed, and we are not able to do better things. And that's where focus is also going for a toss. So to help out on this, if you are very clear on your goal and you are clear on what you are supposed to do, then your focus will be high. For example, I'm very, very clear that I am talking to you, and that's what my present area. So my phone is next to me out there. It might be ringing, but I don't care about it because I know that this is the thing. Because the moment I start consuming into what my phone is ringing about, I probably will lose track. And as you have seen in the chat box, I don't know if you have seen that or not, there's some mishap happened in the chat. I didn't get consumed into that, nor I got emotional. All right. The moment I get consumed into that, so I only take what is useful. I don't consume unnecessary information. So I can keep myself sane. At the same time, I can do my processing in a better level. So does it answer your question?
Yeah, thank you very much. By the way, I had noted that mishap and I had taken the action. Now, other question coming to my mind, Anant, is that it is related to Dr. Howard multiple intelligence theory. So do you think the individual level of intelligence related to the memory capabilities?
Good question. So I'll give my talk, my take on that. So my take is this: your memory will help you to enhance your intelligence, but your intelligence may or may not help your memory. So if your memory is there, your intelligence will be higher. My logic behind that is, what is intelligence all about? It's about processing the information. Yes. The bigger your playground, the more information you have, the better will be the processing. So you can become more intelligent when you are dealing with a lot of information. So if I have lesser memory, my playground is less. So that's why your memory will have a positive impact on intelligence, but your intelligence may or may not have impact on memory.
Yeah, maybe. So, yeah, you're right. And other thing is that we all are unique in terms of our personalities. Like absolutely. You from me and others are different from others. So do you think we all should have different learning styles in terms of improving our memory based on our personalities?
Sure, absolutely. So you can have your own style, but there is something which is common for all the people. One is, okay, as people grow up, they can go into visual mode, auditory mode, kinesthetic mode, all these things come in. Of course, you can go ahead by your styles, but what initially all of the people are in visual mode. When you're a kid, you see and learn. So visual mode has been active for most of the people at the beginning. So you can always piggyback on visual mode, it will always help. And of course, your personal style is always there for you. If you're an auditory person, go ahead and link in that. So because you're unique, it's always good to find out your style. But if you cannot find out your style, you can start working with visual. You can work with anything consciously that will help. And at the end of the day, you see what is working for you, what is giving results, because there is no absolute thing for which will fit everybody. So a little bit of observation, little bit of experimenting will land you in a great position.
Yeah. And one common question coming into the chat box related to healthy body and healthy mind. Do you think we should also practice in terms of physical fitness, eating habit to make our body and mind healthy, to have a better memory power?
Absolutely, yes. You know, it took me 35 years plus to understand that. I made the mistake. So I was thinking that mental health was more important than physical health. And my physical health has gone for a toss. And then also I've seen my mental health also going down. But because I've done extreme practice, my focus did not affect as much. But you know, what I would say is, if you're physically fit, your mental activity will be much more smoother, much more easier. If you're mentally fit, that will actually add on to your physical self. So they go hand in hand. So you cannot separate them. So if you're messing up with your physical body, your mind is going to mess up for sure. Absolutely. So healthy mind in a healthy body, the casing should be good as well.
Yeah. And what do you suggest, what do you suggest, Mr. Anand, to the students? Because these days, most of the students, almost 90% are working or learning through remote, interacting with the teachers through laptop and all. So what should be the best way of improving the memory, especially during the examination? What one student should do so that he or she can recall best manner during the examination?
Sure. I mean, I would like to answer this. Amazing question. Thank you so much. This answer might help some people. And that is, please, for God's sake, don't learn for the sake of examination. Examination should be taken as a passing stage. Now, what happens if you're learning for examination? So please understand that memory is driven by two things. One is necessity and one is interest. Necessity or interest. If you put up examination learning, now once the necessity is over, the information ceases to exist. For example, you want to do a financial transaction and there's an OTP and the OTP says 912315 and you enter 912315, enter, transaction over. You will not even remember the first two digits because it's over. You don't have to remember that anymore because memory is driven by either necessity or interest. So this is the reason why a lot of students annually do some ritual, which I call as a grand annual mental vomiting. Every year, clean slate. They grow from grade 8 to grade 9, clean slate, 9 to 10, clean slate. And coming back to examination, I want to tell you something. Examination is like the final product which you see on the movie. It's like a movie. So you cannot do anything in the movie. If the movie has to be good, your 6 months before, 8 months before, your script has to be good, your editing has to be good, your camera has to be good. What people do is they sit in the examination hall, as in the movie hall, and they say, oh, why this car is moving in this direction? It should have been gone there. It will not work that way. So Olympics run is the final result. You can't go to the Olympics stadium and say, oh, what can I do better to run now? No, you have to be doing better for the last 4 years to make a better run right now. So it's always a long-term thing. So kids, students, please don't look at examinations as the thing on. So go ahead and learn. So I just want to put one simple distinction here, and that is, if you remember something, there is no rule that you have learned it. If you remember something, there is no rule that you have learned it, but if you learn something, there is no need to remember it. So please focus on learning. Learning is more easier, learning is more fruitful, whereas remembering is hard work. I'm a core memory expert, but I still tell you, for academic purposes, it's always better to remember, to learn, and learning comes from best practices as well. You have to do some good practices which you have to do. So this is what I want to say in terms of examination and student. And for online thing, I would like to tell you, please, anybody who's attending online classes or webinars like this, please understand that there's no physical presence there. So it is your responsibility to feel that the teacher is talking to you. And if you just think that, wow, it's just an online class, it's just online learning, I can have my coffee, I can do my chatting on WhatsApp, my teacher is not able to see, your teacher is not going to lose anything, you are wasting your time and you are wasting whatever is learning, and you're wasting your time twice. One is because you are engaged right now, you cannot do anything else in the life. So you are wasting on that. And again, you go back home and you read the same thing which your chemistry teacher has told. Maybe you might understand, maybe you might not understand. There again, you're spending a lot of time there. So spend time wisely. So if you're here, try to be here, your learning will be much better. So these are a few quick tips I can share. Yeah.
Thank you.
I do a lot of programs for kids. So please log on to my website and leave the information there. I do something called as how to become a top student. And I have kept all my programs free because students can get a lot of information. So it's basically for high school students, but anybody can benefit. Yeah.
Just the last question before I go to the attendees, the audience. Haima is asking, Shweta Gupta is asking, and Khalid is asking some questions. My last question to you, Anant, is that brain memory is such a complex subject. What fascinated you to choose this? And what was your experience coming on to Empowerment Talks and having conversation with us?
Amazing. Okay. So memory has been my hobby. So I never thought I would become a speaker or train people. So me, my brother, my dad, all sort of this hobby, and we just picked up this hobby. I was telling Khalid earlier that I was a magician. So I was always used to limelight. So if you grow in magic, so in India, there's this guy called PC Sarkar, is the magician of India and also one of the world's best magicians. So if I have become a best magician, people would say, ah, this guy does magic like PC Sarkar, or this guy does magic like Houdini, all right? So, but in memory, there's no big icons like that. Of course, Harry Lauren is there, but then there are very few people. In India, nobody at that time. So I want to do something different. So it was like a hobby. So when I picked up the hobby, people started saying, hey, how can you just display here, display there? So I was doing some shows and people said, how did you do that? I learned. And then this asked, can you teach? I said, yeah, why not? And that's how I got into this. So I just speak what I do, I just share, and that's how the things happen. Yeah. And talking here has been fantastic. And thank you for the opportunity. And I've also spoken earlier in the 5 a.m. Group as well. And the response has been pretty good. Thanks for inviting me back again. I think I've added some value to you today as well. Yeah.
Yes,
So
definitely. Thank you so much, Anant. I would like to thank you and heartfelt gratitude on behalf of Empowerment Talks attendees on Zoom and whosoever watching on YouTube and other social media and other platforms. So heartfelt gratitude on behalf of everyone. You had definitely given very powerful insights, and it's definitely going to be useful for all of us. So thank you so much for your time, for your insights, and all your inputs.